He was the one-eyed showman who saw the world more clearly than most, a black entertainer dazzling in a white man's world, daring to tap dance across the line between fame and prejudice. This is the untold story of the Rat Pack's boldest rebel, Sammy Davis Jr. Watch until the end to find out some very surprising things about his life. This may change your opinion of one of the greatest entertainers that ever lived and his insatiable appetite to try anything.
The spotlight blazed like the sun, and there stood a boy, barely taller than the microphone stand, tapping out rhythms that defied gravity. Born into a world of shadows and prejudice on December 8, 1925, in Harlem, New York, Samuel George Davis Jr. didn't just enter show business. He was forged in its fire. His father, Sammy Davis Sr., and his godfather, Will Maston, were vaudevillians, and young Sammy joined their act at the tender age of 3. By 5, his tap shoes had already started whispering tales of a future legend. Sammy's childhood was no fairy tale. As a black child on the road in segregated America, he faced more than his share of cruelty. When he enlisted in the Army during World War II, he encountered racial hatred at its ugliest. Fellow soldiers hurled slurs and punches, but Sammy fought back, not with his fists, but with his talent. He discovered that singing and dancing could melt even the iciest hearts. "My talent was my weapon," he later said. "My power." After the war, Sammy reunited with the Will Maston trio and quickly made a name for himself. His voice, a blend of honey and heartbreak, and his electrifying dance moves caught the attention of the entertainment world. But it was a near-fatal car crash in 1954 that reshaped his destiny. Losing his left eye in the accident, Sammy embraced a new persona, often wearing a signature eye patch or glass eye, turning his tragedy into a trademark. By the late 1950s, Sammy had become a bona fide star and found himself in the orbit of Frank Sinatra. The chairman of the board welcomed him into the Rat Pack, a group of charismatic, talented, and rebellious entertainers that included Sinatra, Dean Martin, Joey Bishop, and Peter Lawford. Together, they redefined cool holding court in Las Vegas and Hollywood. Yet behind the camaraderie, Sammy faced battles the others couldn't imagine. While his Rat Pack brothers enjoyed the privileges of white stardom, Sammy often had to enter venues through the back door, barred by Jim Crow laws. Sammy's life was a constant dance between triumph and torment. In 1957, he defied societal norms by dating white actress Kim Novak, sparking outrage and threats from studio executives. One such executive, Harry Cohn, was the studio head at Columbia Pictures and was much feared and hated by the people he worked with. He began working with Novak because he wanted to find a replacement for Rita Hayworth. When Davis and Novak became a couple, the infamous Cohn stood in their way more than anybody else. Cohn had quickly gained a reputation as the meanest person in Hollywood and flaunted the title with pride. Because Cohn viewed Novak as property he owned, he became infuriated when he found out that she was in a relationship with a black man. This rage began a series of heart attacks that eventually killed him. Soon, Davis was given an ultimatum. A hit had been placed on Davis, but he was lucky enough to be informed about it and given the option to marry a black woman within 24 hours to stay safe. Davis chose to marry Lorraine White, a singer he had gone out with a handful of times. He offered White anywhere between $10,000 to $25,000 to act as his wife, and when she agreed, they made a show of a big wedding. While the photos of their wedding looked like they were happy as could be, this was not the case. Davis drank heavily all night and told a friend he didn't want to go on living if he couldn't be with Novak. His eventual marriage to Swedish actress May Britt in 1960 further scandalized the nation, but also symbolized his refusal to bow to racism. Professionally, Sammy dazzled on stage and screen. Hits like Candyman and I've Gotta Be Me showcased his versatility, while his performances in movies like Porgy and Bess and Ocean's 11 cemented his place in Hollywood history. Yet he struggled with addiction, financial troubles, and a desperate need to be loved. He converted to Judaism after his car accident, seeking spiritual solace, but even faith couldn't shield him from life's relentless blows. Now, for Sammy Davis Jr., things go into deep, dark spiral, almost like a plane in a nosedive. Hold on to your seats for some little-known facts about Davis during the last years of his life. According to an article in Rolling Stone called "Inside Sammy Davis Jr. A Secret Satanic Past." Yes, you heard me right. Mr. Show Business himself was a one-time member of the Church of Satan. In 1972, NBC had a new idea for a pilot called Poor Devil. a comedy starring Davis in the lead role. Davis stars as a bumbling demon from hell that has yet to secure one soul for Satan after 1400 years. It was during this time that Davis met Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan. After several intimate meetings with LaVey, the two became friends. Davis felt acceptance there, probably one of the few times in his life. There was no judgment at this church. There was always room for drugs and promiscuity, and of course, Satan worship. During this time, Sammy Davis often experimented in relations with both men and women. It was later noted that his last marriage to Altavice Gore was an open marriage. One of Davis's extramarital partners had to break it off with him because their intimate moments were always a part of a satanic ritual. As the years wore on, Sammy faced mounting challenges. The IRS drained his fortune, and his health began to fail. In 1989, he was diagnosed with throat cancer, a cruel twist of fate for a man whose voice had touched millions. He passed away on May 16, 1990, leaving behind a legacy that was as complex as it was extraordinary. Sammy Davis Jr. wasn't just an entertainer, he was a pioneer. He shattered racial barriers, proving that talent could transcend prejudice. His life was a symphony of highs and lows, a testament to resilience and the unyielding spirit of a man who danced, sang, and laughed through fire. The next time you hear the faint tap of a shoe or the silky croon of a timeless tune, remember Sammy. He was a man who lived unapologetically, reminding the world that the stage is not just a place for performance, it's a battleground for the soul. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe for more content about historical people and events that helped shape history. Thanks for watching.